earnings are going to grow so much that FPE comes down. But that implies, where are we? Remember, FPE is price divided by EPS star, or let's call it EPS 1. Estimated EPS for next 12 months. Then EPS 1 is FPE times price. I'm sorry. What happened to my 5th grade algebra? Price over FPE. I know you probably did not see that in 5th grade, but we did. Why do you think foreigners are better in math than Americans? Americans on average are not dumb, okay? They just don't see this stuff when they need to. So 410 divided by about $16.75. Let's look at the estimated earnings for 2025. NVIDIA has a fiscal year that ends at the end of January. So 2025 means January 2025. So they're expecting about $16. The numbers that we just came up with is for the fourth fiscal quarter, plus basically through November 2024. Since there is a difference, they're not going to be the same, but they should be similar. All right. Next, we have growth estimates for 1 year. Let's call that G1, and 5-year average. Let's call that G5, right? This is 5-year average. I need to extract the average growth rate for years 2 to 5, and let's call that G star. Actually, let's call it G24. G24. Short for G25, I'm sorry. The way we're going to calculate G25 is, if you start with 1 plus G1, the first year growth rate, times 1 plus G25 raised to the power 4, because you're going to grow at that rate for 4 years after the first year, should equal 1 plus G5 raised to the power 5, okay? If you solve for it, 1.25 or then I'm going to use an EPS bar. This is the average of EPS 1 and we already know EPS 1 is known. EPST plus 1 equals EPS1 times T is between 1 and 4, I'm saying. So if you want to predict the second year earnings, take the first year earnings, grow it by G24, then the same, okay? Then take their average. This kind of brings together Shiller's idea, but forward-looking. I'm going to actually call this Forward Shiller 5. Shiller does it for 10 years, backward-looking. A, it's forward-looking. B, it's based on the growth estimates of the analysts, and that's kind of its Achilles heel. Your analysis is as good as those forecasts are, but in the absence of anything, that's what we have. You guys are too young to remember this quote. Back when U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003, and some people were complaining that war wasn't going too well. We need to have this, we need to have that. The defense secretary at the time said, you go to war with the army you have instead of the army you'd like to have. You do financial analysis with the information you have instead of information you'd like to have. If you have a way of getting that information, fine, use it. But if you don't, and if you especially want to do quick and dirty stuff, use whatever that's available, but be aware of its potential shortcomings. It's actually a class that I would love to teach if they let me. Statistical ethics. How to actually think about the numbers that you get using statistics. Because there is so much potential for abuse. And people did that quite a bit during COVID times. And I'm going to kind of show it to you, but we'll go through the construction. I did this for a different class. Let me see. Just to give you an idea, I think I did it here. Okay, forward PE templates. We have also done some other things, but it also includes forward PE. Oh, not this one. Maybe the next one. Oh, okay. The greens are inputs. For example, for NVIDIA, current price is 410, current forward PE, what was it, 24.50. That automatically calculates implied earnings. Next year's growth is 57.50 and 74.22. This basically makes the calculation for the G24. These are the estimated EPS, average 5-year EPS, average five-year forward PE. Okay? 560. That's a pretty low number. Okay? I mean, let's calculate the same number for Apple. Keep that 550 in mind. And let's look at the stats. You know, based on trading PE, Apple is cheap relative to NVIDIA, right? But based on forward PE, they're pretty much similar. So let's take 169.49 and 25.71. Let's look at the estimated growth rates for Apple. 820 and 698. I'm doing it quickly because we're almost out of time. Let's spend time on this on Wednesday. It's 98 or 89? 98. Five-year forward PE for Apple is 2250. So based on forward PE alone, it should be indifferent between two companies. But based on 5-year forward PE, trade is obvious. Buy NVIDIA, short Apple. Okay? If that's all you're going to do. Again, this is as good as the growth forecast, but let's make Apple grow at twice the rate analysts say it would grow. Or we could do the same thing for NVIDIA. So maybe 15 and 15. You know, for Apple to even have a hope of catching up, even that doesn't get it. Even if they're really wrong about Apple, Apple is going to grow bunkers over the next 5 years. It's not anywhere close to forward 5-year Shiller PE for NVIDIA. Now that makes a big difference. All right? And we'll kind of expand on this, and we'll also address issues with using the earnings itself. It has to do with different leverage issues, and B, it also has to do with accrual stuff. So we'll look at adjusting for leverage and adjusting for accruals or non-cash expenses. But that's Wednesday's job. I'll post this for you guys if you want to play with it. And I'll see you Wednesday.